All right, here we go, guys. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. And why are the Dallas Cowboys 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Yeah, as I'm wearing a Texas jersey, right? That makes a lot of sense. Huh? Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all? Hey, Jersey guys, what's up, brother? Anybody going to spend any time listening to me here this evening? I greatly appreciate it. If anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. It means so much to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away. Throw it in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat. I've got the Jersey guys here. Is in the house already. So I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes because sometimes I'm like looking at an article and then I pop back and I see some comments there and all that. So, as soon as I see something, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. And also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 40 minutes, it's nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Just a little program and notes. Today's Wednesday. So Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going live, and then I'll be off for a little while. I'll be back like sometime either next Saturday or next Sunday. It depends upon what time my wife wants to get back. Because we're going to be in North Carolina and South Carolina. And we're in South Carolina second. So it's like an 11, 12-hour ride just to get back here. Sometimes she wants to get back a little earlier. She wants to get back Saturday. Sometimes we might leave Saturday night, get home Sunday. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'll be off to probably at least next Saturday night anyway. So have a safe trip. Thank you. So just a little programming note. So that's all. But we'll be back. We will be back. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. First one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you once again. Thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed, thank you. And then finally, in the description box below, there's 2 Facebook links. The top one takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Basically, I pretty much say, basically my Facebook page, Facebook group, and my YouTube channel is pretty much call it by the same thing. It's all called the New York Giants, the Gridiron, right? That way I dumb it down for someone like me. That way I don't have to, what's my channel? It's my group called. There's something different than the page. What's the channel? It's all called the same thing. It makes it so easy for me, so convenient. We still got 4,000 members, a little over 4,000 members in the group, doing really, really well. Usually once I get done going live, I'll spend like the next couple of hours just putting stuff in the group and in the page, which I say I'll go over in a minute. I try to get up to like about 10 things or so every day in the group and in the page. As I said, whether it's just sharing an article, something showing some stats on a ball player, a post, a picture, a video I made up, something making fun of the Eagles or Cowboys, which are my personal favorites, right? I put it in there. It's pretty much 7 days a week. Even when I go on vacation, I still have, as long as I got access to the internet, I got stuff going in there every day. So it's pretty much 365 days a year. But with the group, if you become a member, not only do I post stuff in there, but the members post stuff in here as well, too, every day. So there's a ton of Giants information going into the group every day. Then the second Facebook link takes you to my Facebook page. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's the page. I'm the administrator, so I'm the only one that posts anything in there. But it's the same thing. Once I get done going live, I post stuff in the group and in the page. So once again, I try to get up to like about 10 things or so every day in the page as well. Same stuff, whether it's a video, a post, a picture, whether I'm sharing an article, something just shows some stats on a ball player. Once again, something making fun of the Eagles and the Cowboys, which are my personal favorites. I try to get as much stuff in there as I can every day. We're at over 2,100 likes. So that's cool. I think it was 2,000 yesterday. So now we're up to over 2,100. And we got over 6,600 people who are following the page. So it's really doing rather well, might I add. And I don't commingle with stuff, all right? So basically, whatever I put in a page, I don't put in a group. Whatever I put in a group, I don't put in a page. I try to keep the stuff separate, right? So unless it's something making fun of the Eagles, and I just want to share that pretty much with everybody. Other than that, I just try to keep stuff separate. That's what it is. So if you go, it's different stuff. So if you go to the page and you like it and you follow it and you go to the group and you become a member, you get a ton, every day, 7 days a week, almost 365 a year of New York Giants stuff every day. And like I say in every video, right? If you go to the page and you like it and you follow it and you go to the group and you become a member, if you're not 100% satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All right, with all that stuff said, Vinny G-Man's in the house. Jersey guys, Vinny G-Man. What's going on, guys? Hey, what's happening, guys? Man, I seen this one. There's so many articles out here about Saquon because obviously we're coming to the deadline here. We got Monday. So this one here, but it's fun. I mean, it's like Week 1 status in jeopardy if Giants don't reach a long-term deal report. I would be absolutely shocked if he holds out. But even, what do you mean jeopardy? I would be shocked if he holds out. And you know what? He could sign 14 seconds before they kick the football off. All right. Sign on the dotted line. And guess who's going to be in the backfield in the first snap of the game? Saquon. If they have to run a piece of paper in each play, right? And if they put a new play in or something like that, Daniel Jones calls a play and they got to run somebody in from the sideline each play with the piece of paper, and they hand it to Saquon. He opens it up and it says, okay, run a wheel route to the left side. Okay. He'll take that and he'll throw it off to the side and he'll run, right? That's what they got to do. That's what they got to do. I would be really, really shocked if Week 1 he's not there. I can't see him holding out. He'd be ticked off. If I even starting to see some reports, some guys starting to say that a deal's supposed to get done or it might get done in the next couple of days. I can't remember who it was, but it was a couple of reports also saw that too, maybe around $14 million a year. I saw a couple of reports of that. But if they don't reach some type of a long-term deal, which I think they will, but if they don't, maybe he might hold out, after for training camp. But if you look, again, he's working out and he looks like a beast. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be in game shape, right? But he might, if something were to happen, he might hold out for after training camp or whatever, maybe the preseason. But I have a lot of confidence he'll be in there Week 1. Who is this? Fox Sports says Saquon Barkley's Week 1 status in jeopardy if Giants don't. Jeopardy. Oh, man. It says Saquon Barkley's contract dilemma with the Giants has gotten to a place fans feared. He might sit out to start the season. I would be shocked. To start the season? What's that going to do? I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll sit out the first. I think he has. Actually, I think it's till maybe it's 10. I think it's week 10 for him, and his whatever he gets paid will be prorated, right? But I think he has until week 10 if something were to happen. Just say he can't get a deal done, whatever. He doesn't have to sign till week 10. Would just be I can't remember if it's just after week 10 or if it's just before the week 10 game. I can't remember, but somewhere around there he can sign, and he would still be have like a year's worth of service, because after a couple of years or years, with in the league, he wants accrued seasons. That's very, very important as far as like, I don't know if they have the pensions and stuff like that. And also, so if he signs in week 15 or something, everything's prorated. It's not like, well, I'll wait till week 10 and then I'll sign, I'll get my 10 million. No, it's not how it happens. I don't have my calculator here. I'm too stupid to figure it out, but whatever, 17 games, right? You get $10 million for 17 games, whatever that breaks down to. Let's say here. 17, 34, 68, 85. Oh, damn. Right around $600,000 a game. So if he signs, say, after 10 games, just say we got 7 games left, $600,000 a game, he would get $4.2 million. I should be, I believe, guaranteed. Right. But so I don't see why. I'll show you. I'll sit out. I don't. With the toys that the Giants have now, once again, we don't have the wide receiver number one. But, with the guys we brought in with Campbell and Hodgins and with Slayton and Robinson and Sterling Shepard, and I know I'm going to forget some guy, Hyatt. I said Hyatt, Hodgins, Slayton, Campbell, Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Crowder. I somewhere about Smith. I don't know if Bryce Ford Wheaton's going to make the final 53. And we brought Gray in, right? And we still got Brightwell. We got Breida. So even if Saquon does sit out, I think it's still full steam ahead. Now, obviously, it's not full steam ahead the way we would like it to be because we won't have Saquon. But I think, and I think with an improved offensive line, giving Daniel Jones some extra time, I think I'm not saying we won't miss a beat, but I would be shocked, absolutely shocked if he doesn't wind up if he ain't in the backfield there. As I said, he can sit out training camp if he wants and just sign on a dotted line. I said, whatever, an hour before game time or something. I guess he'll be in the backfield and play. Obviously if he sits out all training camp, I don't know how many plays he'll play. Because he won't be in football shape. You can work out all you want, but it's tough to get in football shape. That's something that's a different animal. We got speed on the perimeter. Oh yeah, the offense may indicate a philosophy that opens up the middle of the field. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. It's all. Spreading that stuff out. And it's also, of course, obviously having. If I'm Daniel Jones calling the signals, it's about having the guy behind you too. You got eyes on that guy. It's like, where's Saquon? You don't want to forget about him. But it is spreading it out. Like what the Giants were doing last year, right? They weren't thrown down deep, right? Dink and dunk and dunk and dink and hand the ball off to Saquon and hand the ball off here. Bellinger there, maybe Slayton, Hodgins. We didn't throw really deep to Hodgins. Just a lot of short pass patterns. A lot of. We were last in the league as far as 20 plus completions. It was just, So everybody started, was able. I think it was the Lions. I think the Seahawks did a pretty good job of maybe slowing Saquon down. They maybe start bringing some other guys into the box. Right, to slow him down. You start bringing stuff in, if you can open stuff up, and that now everybody's got to step back. You take a couple steps in, and you got Jalen Hyatt out over there. Right? You don't want him running by you, and then you got the freak. As I'm saying, so you got that, but then who's going to cover Waller one-on-one? Good luck there. Right? Good luck there. Right. As I said, then you got Saquon behind you. It's all, And then if we can actually, hold up on the offensive line a little bit better, Neal takes a step forward this year. Andrew Thomas, I'm sure, know what he's going to do. Hopefully Michael Schmitz can do well this season. But it's all, especially that speed. Oh yeah. Look what we brought in. You know what I mean? Right. We brought back Slayton. We got that Campbell. Right. And then, with Hyatt, it's almost amazing that he lasted till the third round. Wow. That was That was a special pick there, right there. They had to just trade up to get him, but I think that might work out really, really well for the Giants. Then I saw this. I saw Tom Coughlin, right, is among 6 Giants semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, I mean, if they don't get him in there somewhere along the line, they just might as well just close the Hall of Fame down. I mean, it's absolutely freaking ridiculous if he doesn't get in there. This is a 2-time Super Bowl winning coach. Tom Coughlin was one of 6 individuals with significant Giant ties who moved one step closer to the election as members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame 2024 class. The others were former players with Charlie Connolly, who played for the Giants from 48 to 61. Otis Anderson. Now, I don't know about this guy either. Why this guy's he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, come on. That forearm in Super Bowl 25, that's enough right there to put you in the Hall of Fame. Come on. I mean, stop it. I mean, I think if I read this right, there was a 6-time 1,000-yard rusher, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. Come on. I mean, come on. Come on. What the hell you got to do? I mean, he had a long career too. Spanned 3 decades. He was from the 70s to the 90s. I mean, come on. Carl Banks and Everson Walls. And then, of course, Dan Reeves. And I don't know why Dan Reeves would not be in there either. He took 2 different teams. So he went to 4 freaking Super Bowls. He was a coach of the year multiple times with different teams. He took 3 different teams to the playoffs. I mean, Marv Levy is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He took the Bills to the Super Bowl 4 times. They lost every time. He's in the Hall of Fame. Dan Reeves, Dan Reeves was on a Super Bowl winning team with the Dallas Cowboys in 1971. Dan Reeves went to multiple Super Bowls. He won a Super Bowl as a Cowboy, as a player. He went to 4 different Super Bowls with 2 different teams. He took 3 different teams to playoffs. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You got me. See, Dan Reeves, Everson Walls, right? So the 4 players were among 31 eligible nominees selected by the Hall's senior committee to advance to the next round of consideration. Separately, the Hall's coach contributor committee included Coughlin and Reeves on its list of 29 semifinalists who advanced to the next round. Another semifinalist, the late Marty Schottenheimer, was a Giants assistant from 75 to 77. Yep. He was a heck of a coach during the regular season. Heck of a coach. Once they got to the playoffs, they never did very well in the playoffs, his teams. But it says the respective selection committees now will consider the candidates and vote to send 12 seniors and 12 coach contributors through the next stage. The result of those reduction votes will be announced July 27th. So a couple weeks. That's cool. It says the coach/contributor committee members will meet August 15th to select 1 coach or contributor for final consideration. 1 coach. I don't know. But the senior committee will meet August 22nd and may select up to 3 seniors for final consideration as members of the Hall class 2023. So that's good. But I mean, come on. With Tom Coughlin, I mean, let's see. He says his 102 victories are second in franchise history to Steve Owen, who coached for 23 years for the Giants from 31 to 53. Coughlin led the Giants to 3 NFC East titles and 5 playoff berths. His 8 postseason triumphs tie him with Bill Parcells for the most ever by a Giant coach. Coughlin was the team's wide receivers coach. So Coughlin has 3 Super Bowl rings with the Giants, right? And so then, of course, if he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, it's absolutely ridiculous. It says, in addition, Coughlin was the first coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who began playing in 1995. Under Coughlin, the Jaguars were the most successful expansion team in NFL history. Coughlin compiled a 68-60 record with the team, plus a 4-4 mark in the playoffs, including 2 trips to the AFC Championship games. The Jaguars made the playoffs every year from 96 to 99, 4 straight years. Coughlin's 20-year record as coach is 182 and 157. and also, you know, as I said, he 2 Super Bowls, right? Tom Coughlin is, this is the 98th season in the history of the New York Football Giants. We can even push it out to 100 seasons, right? We can give it 2023 and 2024. So we can go 100 seasons with the New York Football Giants. And he'll be the only coach to take the Giants to 4 straight years. Steve Owen did it 33, 34, and 35. Ali Sherman did it 61, 62, 63. Bill Parcells did it 84, 85, 86. Coughlin did it 5, 6, 7, 8. He's the only one. So Brian Daboll takes the Giants to the playoffs the next 2 seasons. He still only did it for 3 seasons, right? 22, 23, and 24. So if we take the whole 100 years of the Giants, 100 years, Coughlin's the only one who took the Giants to the playoffs 4 years in a row, right? So I mean, it'd be an absolute joke if he doesn't want to make it in there. Bud Grant too, yeah, no, Bud Grant, yep. And with Bud Grant, he took the same team, to the Vikings. Marv Levy took the same team, the Bills. Dan Reeves took 2 different teams. Remember the Dirty Bird? However that dance went, right? The Falcons, they lost 98. 97 was the Broncos, Packers. 98 was the Falcons and the Broncos. So they went there. They lost, but they really shouldn't. They really shouldn't have been there. Gary Anderson should have kicked the winning field goal, and the only field goal Gary Anderson missed in the whole 98 season for the Minnesota Vikings was in the championship game. I can't remember if it was overtime or if it was just before to get into over. I think it was before the overtime. It was like a 30-something yard field goal. Gary Anderson kicked with the Vikings that year. Their offense had 7,000 touchdowns with Carter and Moss and Culpepper, and I can't remember who the running back was. But 7 million touchdowns, 5 trillion field goals he kicked all season long. Didn't miss anything, nothing, except for the 1 field goal. It was like a 30-something yarder. Would have sent them into the Super Bowl. Gary Anderson missed it. Can you do this? He was at home in the dome. There's no wind, no snow, no rain, no sun in the eyes, nothing. He missed it. But the Jets and the Vikes, the Jets was that was the year that the Jets, right? They had they were winning at halftime, 10-9 over the Broncos. Bill Parcells, right? And they didn't score in the second half. The Broncos scored 2 touchdowns, and I think the Broncos won 23-10. I think it was. So yeah, but the Vikings had a heck of a team that year, man. What an offense they had! Wow, what an offense they had. They should have been in there, but it is what it is. Yeah, they couldn't stop. Touchdown there, Terrell Davis. Yeah, that's a shame with him. With it, guys like him, Gale Sayers. I'm sure you can go on and on and on for guys whose career were cut short due to injuries and all that stuff and everything. But yeah, he was what a good back he was too. We got Broncos rings look like trash. Really? Do they? I didn't see what they look like. You mean the Super Bowl winning rings? They look like trash. I feel bad because they had to endure so much. They lost because they lost 4 Super Bowls. They lost 77, they lost 86, they lost 87, then they lost 89. So they lost 4 straight Super Bowls before they actually wound up winning 2 of them. But I felt good for John Elway anyway because he endured 3 of those losses and a couple. Well, actually, they were all blowouts. The Giants beat him 39-20. 42-10 was it? I think it was. The Redskins beat them, and then the 49ers beat was it 55-14 or 55-10? Oh my, wow, what a thrashing that was! Just all out blowouts. My goodness. But then they finally got their just due. They were not just, but they got what they earned. They beat that was a good one, good Super Bowl when they beat the Packers. Very, very exciting Super Bowl. And they were certainly better that year. I mean, that was the year 98. That's when they came into Giant Stadium. Was it Ken Cram? It wasn't Danny Cannell. It was Ken Cram. Right? They came in. I think they were 13-0 against the Giants. And Monty Toomer caught the game-winning touchdown back in the end zone. Place was going freaking bananas. Of course, the Giants weren't going to no playoffs and all like that, but we knocked them from the unbeaten. They were 13-0, I think. And I think we beat them. They were 13-1. Shanahan's zone blocking scheme influenced by Lombardi destroyed the Jets' defensive game. Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of it was, blocking. Yep. Oh, yeah, Shannon Sharp. What a phenomenal tight end he was. Oh, yeah, has the ugliest rings, including his Raven. Oh, really? Even the Ravens ring is ugly? Yeah, because he's got 3 of them, right? Should have 2 with the Broncos, and of course, thanks to the Giants, they deserved it. I mean, what a defense they had that year. I mean, you look at it, though, also, I mean, I think if I 244 yards of offense they had. 244, the Ravens against the Giants in the 2000 Super Bowl, I think it was. And they scored 34 points. 244 yards. I mean, that's the lowest in the history of Super Bowls by the winning team. 244. I mean, you look at the end of the game, you're like, man, we only gave up 244 yards of offense. Wow, we must have won. All right, baby. Because we couldn't do much anything. I mean, their defense was just Ray Lewis. I mean, their secondary, Siragusa, and I can't remember the other guy. Was it Adams? Adams and Siragusa, whatever. I mean, the 2 guys in the tackle, you just couldn't move them. So basically, the front, 6, 7, 8, 9 feet, whatever, was just occupied by those 2. They weren't moving. Nobody was moving them, right? So you had a hard time getting to Ray Lewis. So Ray Lewis could just run around and make all kinds of tackles. And I mean, what a team they had. What a fantastic team. Tom Brady's backup to the Super Bowl was Jim McMahon. Tom Brady's backup to the Super Bowl was Jim McMahon. Mike linebacker was Romanowski. Oh yeah, I think he was. Yeah, Romanowski. Yeah, I hate him. He was a dirty player. Real dirty player. I don't know if he took he had anger problems, anger issues and stuff like that. I mean, I remember one time listening to him talk. Yeah. I said, I don't know if he just, I don't know. He was pretty well built. So I don't know if he took steroids or something. I don't know. I know he said I listened to him one time. He took so many vitamins and supplements and stuff like that. He said he used to pee blue. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. I remember one time, he was just so nuts and all and everything. Roy, I guess could be. That's quite possible. I remember one time he said something like, I don't know who it was. I don't know if he maybe said who. I don't even know who they were playing against. I don't know. But one time he made a tackle. I think he said he was under the bottom or something like that. Or he grabbed some dude's finger and he just snapped it. And he heard the guy goes, ah! He just snapped some dude's finger. He spit in some guy's face too. I can't remember who it was. Just what a piece of trash. Absolute piece of trash. I can't remember whose face he spit in. Just what a piece of garbage. Absolute piece of garbage. He was a good. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a shame he didn't need to do that stuff. He didn't need to do that stuff. Was it J.J. Stokes? Is that who it was? Yeah. I mean, yeah, Stokes was with the Niners. Yeah. Is that what it was? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But it just goes to show you, I mean, what guys will do just, to get an edge. And Romanowski played for a while too. It wasn't like he played for 5 years and he was just trying to, let me see how long I can stay in the league. I mean, maybe I can make a paycheck here or something. He was there for a while. So, I mean, after a while, maybe, your body starts breaking down. You're maybe not as good as all the other guys on the field. He was still very good. But, I mean, for him to say maybe play at that that level, maybe he was taking steroids. But I remember distinctly him saying one time, I listened to a video, probably on YouTube, and he said he took like up to 100 different supplements and vitamins or something every day. And he said he used to pee blue. So, I mean, it's just, I'm like, whew, he took a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was. But I mean, he started spitting in people's face and stuff. I mean, that's just very, very classless. Very classless. All right, then we have, as I said, and then also, I mean, you know, he got here. I mean, let's see, we got Reeves. I mean, if Reeves doesn't get in there, I mean, then you got Charlie Connolly. Charlie Connolly, he was in there for 19. He was, you know, he set some giant quarterback records, which stood for a long time. Like he played in 12 games in 1948, his rookie season. He threw 22 touchdown passes. Well, Daniel Jones finally beat that when he had 20. Daniel Jones threw 24 in his rookie season. But I mean, back when Charlie Connolly played, I mean, it was a more like a three yards in a cloud of dust thing. They didn't run the ball. They ran the ball a lot. But Charlie Connolly for the Giants, he was their quarterback from 48-61. He took them to 4 different championship games. Well, in his final season in 61, Y.A. Tittle was here. So Charlie Connolly and Y.A. Tittle were kind of like the quarterbacks. Y.A. Tittle got more playing time, but Charlie Connolly came in too in 61 and played some games too. So Charlie Connolly went to 4 championship games. We won one of them with him. But I mean, he's been out of football for over 60 years. If they haven't put him in, I can't. Oh, it says in his debut season, 1940, Charlie Connolly set rookie records for pass attempts, 299 completions, 162 passing yards, 2,175, and touchdown passes with 22. That stood for 71 years until Daniel Jones broke them in 2019. 71 years his passing records went for. So, see, and they got Anderson. I mean, he joined the Giants midway through the 1986 season after spending 6+ seasons with the Cardinals, who selected him with the 8th pick in the 79 draft. In 14 season, Anderson had 2,562 regular season carries for 10,273 yards, 81 touchdowns, plus 376 receptions for 3,000. So he had like 13,500 yards, 86 touchdowns. Let's see. Yeah, obviously 2 Super Bowl wins and Super Bowl MVP. I mean, he's a 6-time 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, he led the Giants in rushing 1,023 yards in 1989 after he'd been in the league since 79. It was in his 11th season. He's still churning out 1,000-yard seasons. He hardly ever fumbled the ball. I mean, I don't know. Then we got Carl Banks, was the 3rd overall selection of the 1984 draft. He played 9 seasons for the Giants. And then he played, then he finished up his career with Washington. It's so hard to see him in a Washington. That was tough to see him. And then he played the final 2 seasons with Cleveland. I believe that's when Belichick was the coach of the Browns back then. So arguably the best run-stopping linebacker of his generation. Banks could set an edge. Let me tell you what. Oh, yeah. Banks was a standout on a team that won the 2 Super Bowls. He led the 1986 champions with 120 tackles in the regular season and 26 in the postseason, including 10 in Super Bowl 21. He was the best player on the field in Super Bowl 21. Phil Simms had the best game with his completion percentage and all that and everything, but Carl Banks was the best player on the field in Super Bowl 21. The following season, he was a unanimous All-NFL selection and a starter on the NFC Pro Bowl team. Banks was selected to the NFL's 1980s All-Decade team. I mean, unfortunately, he's one of the iffy ones. I mean, if he had like 7 or 8 Pro Bowls, maybe something, but I mean, I think sometimes he gets a little overlooked because we had Carson there and Lawrence Taylor, so maybe he got overlooked a little bit. But I mean, if you ever listen, wasn't a championship game. You ever listen to the 1986 game between the Giants and the 49ers? Pat Summerall and John Madden are doing the game, the divisional round. That was the one the Giants won. They knocked that's when Burt knocked out Montana, and they killed the 49ers. if you listen to John Madden, a couple times during that game, John Madden specifically says that Carl Banks is the best player on the field. Now, if you look, I mean, you got Jerry Rice out there, Joe Montana, Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, Roger Craig. So you got some good players out there. And a couple of times, multiple times, John Madden's saying specifically Carl Banks is the best player out there. They could not run the ball his way. I mean, he would just shut everything down. He set the edge. I mean, he was really, really good at that. But will he ever get in? Who knows? Then you got, of course, Everson Walls, right? I mean, he had he made 3 first-team All-Pro teams, 4 Pro Bowls, and led the NFL in interception 3 times. Of course, he helped the Giants win when he was in 1990. Of course, most of his playing career was with the Dallas Cowboys, but, I mean, he certainly could be into the Hall of Fame as well, too. I mean, we just have to wind up waiting and seeing. I'm obviously pulling for all the guys. A lot of them certainly deserve to be in there. And then, and then I just saw this here. I'll leave. There's one more thing. 5 moves at Joe Schoen. I'll leave that for possibly maybe tomorrow night. But I want to go over these linebackers here. What do we got? Thanks deserves. Yeah, and a Summerall, another. Well, see, the thing is with Summerall, he didn't have the greatest playing career. He played with the Cardinals. They were not very good. They traded him to the Giants, and he played his last 4 seasons with the Giants, 58, 59, 16, 61. Played him with the Giants. His last game was the 61 championship game. The Giants lost 37-0 to the Packers. Summerall, because he kicked, he got in there on 1 play. The Giants lost 37-0. They didn't try any field goals, no extra points. He had 1 kickoff. That's all. I think it was the second half kickoff. That was it. But, I mean, if you combine what he's done, I mean, it's kind of hard, because he became a broadcaster in the 60s, 70s, 80s with John Madden and all that. It's kind of hard, he did Super Bowls and championship games, playoff games, tons of regular season games. And it's really hard to if you're thinking about football, just not to have Pat Summerall in there. You know what I mean? He played, but he also, but to me, he kicked the hardest and the most important field goal in the history of football, because the Giants, in the 1958 season, the final game of the 58 season, they had to beat the Cleveland Browns. The Giants it was tied 10-10. It was about 2 minutes to go in the game, somewhere around there. I don't know if it was snowing at the time, but the field was covered with like snow and all. It was dark. I heard reports that he couldn't even see the uprights. They were 49 yards away. But they sent them in there to kick a field goal. It was 4th down, and it was 10-10, and Summerall, he booted the ball through. Well, what that did was that set up a playoff game the following week for the Giants and the Browns. Giants wound up winning 10-0. Well, then what that did set up the championship game between the Colts and the Giants in 1958, and wound up being an overtime game they called the greatest game ever played and all that, which kind of brought football to the limelight more. Gave it, because it was overtime in New York, big game. It was first nationally televised championship game, I think it was. A big, huge game, but that never would have happened if Pat Summerall didn't kick a 49-yard field goal. Kind of, if it wasn't snowing out, the field was covered with snow and all that. It was a tough kick, kicking almost 50 yards. So, if it wasn't for his field goal, that championship game never would have happened. And, I'm sure football would have took off eventually, but it would set up for that championship game. So, I mean, he kicked a very, very important field goal in the history of professional football. But once again, if he's not in there by now, especially with his broadcasting and his career, maybe he won't ever get in there. Yep, 58, 23-17. Yeah, that was a tough one. And then, I seen these 5 different players since Jarrad Davis. knee. Let's see. Where does it say it here? I know I saw a knee. The plan is going awry. Davis will be out a prolonged period of time after he recently had knee surgery. Because the first reports were he had a surgery, but we didn't know what it was. An undisclosed surgery. Didn't know exactly what it was. Now it's a knee surgery. Don't know exactly what it was. What the surgery was. Quite possibly it wasn't an ACL tear or anything like that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe something. I don't know. Who knows? So we'll have to figure it, find out maybe more down along the line, maybe exactly what it was. But so we don't know how long he'll be out for. But so now it is. We know it's his knee. But then I saw this. Who is this? SB Nation. Oh, Nick Filato. He's smart dude, real smart dude. Let me tell you. When he talks, the thing I hate about listening to him is because his knowledge is so good, Nick Filato. Really smart and intelligent, but he talks a lot of football terminology and stuff like that. And some of it just goes over my head. But he does a real good job. When he does these articles, he does a really, really good job of it. So he's got 5 guys the Giants could bring in. One of them is Deion Jones from Cleveland. Says the 2016 second-round selection by the Falcons played 6 respectable seasons for the Falcons before the Cleveland Browns acquired him early last season. In a late-round pick swap trade, Jones played more than 900 snaps in 5 of his 7 seasons as a linebacker, and the 28-year-old played 422 for the Browns last season. He's 28 years old. 6'1", 227-pounder is known for his speed and athletic ability. I mean, you got to carry K and put Deion Jones next to him. But I'd be interested. You're not exactly sure. Obviously, because Shane and Dable and all of that, I'm sure they have a plan. We'll have to wait and see if they bring in these guys. And the other one's Miles Jack, right? Was also a second-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2016. It spent 6 respectable seasons with the Jags. Jack spent the 2022 season with the Steelers, where the 27-year-old plays 692 snaps. So once again, he's not that old. Jack produced well in those snaps, recording 104 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 passes defense, and 5 pressures. And now he's a little bigger, 6'1", 255-pounder. And it says he's slightly thicker than Jones, but is still a solid athlete operating at the second level. Then he brought in another one, Jaylen Smith. I mean, it just seems like the guy that just won't go away, right? I mean, we had him here 2 years, right? Maybe bring him back for a 3rd year. I mean, once again, at least with him, the guy wants to play, right? And he'll be on the cheap. It says, Nick Filato says, it may not be ideal, but Smith knows the defense and was the de facto LB1 last season for the Giants. Well, when they started losing their linebacker or whatever. Was he always in the correct position? No. Did he look like he drank 5 Red Bulls before every game? Yes. Despite that, he was far and away the Giants' best linebacker option last season. I mean, the guy tries. But we're not asking him maybe to be the starter next to Okereke. So we'll have to wait and see. But adding Okereke alleviates the burden of responsibility placed on Smith's shoulders. Smith is still just 29 years old, coming off a season where he had 88 tackles, 3 for loss with a sack, 8 pressures, and only a 6.1% missed tackle rate. So then we got Zach Cunningham from Tennessee. Cunningham spent much of the 2022 season with an elbow injury that landed him on injured reserve before the Titans ultimately released the once accomplished Vanderbilt Commodore for a failed physical in February. Before his return to Nashville, Cunningham spent 5.5 seasons in Houston after he was selected in the 2nd round. He amassed 620 career tackles, 29 for loss, 19 passes defense, 5 forced fumbles, and a partridge in a pear tree. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. It says Cunningham's arm length is in the 96th percentile for linebackers at 34. Wow, that's a long arm. 34 and 3/4 inches. Wow. It says, imagine Cunningham playing next to a Karake whose arms are 34.5 inches, puts him in the 97th percentile. Wow. They just spread their arms out. Nobody's going to get past them. And then the last one, they got is Quan Alexander from the Jets. I don't know if the Giants could make this work financially, although he did sign a cheap contract with the Jets before last season. But a veteran like Alexander could make a huge difference. The 28-year-old bounced around from the Bucs to the 49ers and Saints and spent the 2022 season locally with the New York Jets. Alexander had 69 tackles, 6 for loss, a forced fumble, half a sack, 17 pressures in 17 games with the Jets, and following his former defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, to the Big Apple. Alexander suffered several injuries in recent seasons. His 2018 campaign ended with a torn ACL. He suffered a torn pectoral muscle in 2019, but returned for the playoffs, and then he tore his Achilles at the end of 2020. Ooh. He spent a month on IR in 2021 with an elbow injury. Despite the hardship, the 6'1", 227-pound Alexander still played respectable defense for the Jets last season. So there are choices out there. You just don't know if they're going to want to take them. Positional depth in the is it greatest football game ever played. That's what they say. 58. Positional depth on this upcoming roster is a concern. Well, there's some of them. I mean, they got, they got competition at, is it a complete roster? No, they brought in a lot of competition, right? I like the tight ends. I like the 2 quarterbacks we have. Do we have a Patrick Mahomes? No. We have a nice, solid backup quarterback, which could be invaluable. Good, got some good running backs. Good tight ends. We have good, solid wide receivers. Do we have a dog? Nope. I mean, if we had a dog, oh yeah. If we can get a dog, get the number uno guy, oh yeah. But I mean, it's a process. I mean, he came into a pile of manure last year, Joe Schoen, no money, a team, needed to be ripped down, pulled apart or whatever. Had to add a bunch to it. And it's not a finished product. And it's to go from where we were a couple of years ago to try to be knocking on the Super Bowl door in 2 seasons. That's asking a bit much. It's a process, Hopefully next year we can sprinkle in a couple more pieces here. We're not too far. Some spots, I said, some of the spots, the quarterbacks, we 2 good ones. I don't know if we're going to be keeping DeVito or not. I don't know. But I said the tight ends, good depth. Running back, good depth. Wide receiver, good depth. We're just missing the number 1 guy, right? Hopefully we got a center for the long haul. Hopefully we got our 2 tackles for the long haul. Where it's, trying to figure out who's going to be playing guard, especially if we let Glowinski go maybe after this season. We're not sure, who's going to be the right guard is. Zunu, can he stay healthy and step into the left guard, or is Bredesen going to, So we got some question marks, but there are some spots that are pretty good. The cornerbacks, we got a lot of guys, ton of guys. The question is, we don't know who's going to play the slot. We got Deonte Banks, but then the problem is, who's going to be the number another. Well, if we let Adoree Jackson go after this season, right? Maybe Banks slides over to the other side. He's the main man, but then who's going to take his spot? We got a lot of guys, we got a lot of good competition, but we might have 2 good cornerbacks this year. Might go down to 1, So we'll have to wait and see. The safety position, we got some guys. We'll have to see if we wind up signing Xavier McKinney. Interior linebacker position, and we got a Karake, right? There's McFadden. Wink was talking up McFadden. He said he's really improved. Of course, we got Darian Beavers hopefully coming back. Our interior defensive line is really good. And depth there. That's good, right? We got 2 really good starting edge rushers. What do we have behind them? But once again, it's a process. get a couple more good drafts. Hopefully maybe next year we add a couple more pieces to the puzzle. I mean, you got to also look at it too. There's no team out there that's 100%. That has Hall of Famers at every position, and they have Pro Bowlers as their backups. I mean, every team is weak in certain positions. I mean, I said even like with the Eagles. Yeah, the coaching staff, we got that going on our side too. I said, look at the Eagles. In certain positions, the Eagles are really stacked. But you also start looking. I mean, if DeVonta Smith, he goes down. AJ Brown goes down. I mean, right? I mean, I don't know if Dallas Goedert goes down. I mean, did they have a really good tight end behind him? I mean, they got lucky last year. They didn't have many injuries. So their starters stayed, managed to make it through the whole season. They did good because they weren't injured. But I mean, I said there's some positions where, they go, I mean, they have a fantastic front, edge rushers and all this, fantastic. But I'm saying, but like the middle linebackers, their safety, the cornerbacks. I mean, they got a couple good cornerbacks, but I mean, once again, Bradbury and Slay. I mean, those guys get injured, they're going to get a little weak out there, So, I mean, every team's got holes, whether it's on the starting or at certain spots they have. Their depth is questionable. It's tough. You can't pay everybody $10, $20 million. But I mean, same thing with the Giants. Right? I mean, it's going to be a process. Let's enjoy the process. But it also makes it so much nicer when you finally win. You start adding little pieces to the puzzle, right? And another year or so goes by. Hopefully we can work on improving on 9-7-1 from last year, and then maybe have another good draft and improve on that. And work your way. Hopefully in another year or two, maybe we'll might start knocking on the Super Bowl door. But I'll have to wait and see. Well, guys, it's been 51 minutes. Jersey guy, good talking to you, brother. Good talking to you. So whoever spent any time listening to me shoot my mouth off, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah. You stay safe, too. Stay safe. Oh, happy vacation. Thank you. Thank you.